Bitcoin ETFs are not Bitcoin. Let's mine deep. ETF, aka Exchange Traded Fund, is a financial instrument that trades like a stock, providing people exposure to various assets like gold, oil, stock indices, and now Bitcoin.
The Securities and Exchange Commission has indeed approved 10 spot Bitcoin.
Regulators have given money managers the approval to launch 11 spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds.
Of Bitcoin ETFs have been approved, the SEC.
The SEC has made a change in how Bitcoin ETFs are created. They are shifting to a cash creation method. This means buying Bitcoin with cash instead of exchanging it directly. The impact on investors is minimal, but it has implications for issuers and raises concerns about trading efficiency. This means that now the ETFs involve authorized participants, APs, who exchange assets or cash for ETF shares. While ETFs offer convenience and easy access through brokerage accounts, let's dive into the distinction between owning actual Bitcoin and holding an ETF. Bitcoin, unlike traditional investments, has unique properties that make it a powerful asset for preserving purchasing power and protecting against inflation. When you invest in traditional assets like bonds, stocks, or real estate, there are inherent risks and limitations. Bonds may struggle to provide sufficient yield to offset true inflation. Stocks depend on a company's ability to pass through inflationary costs. Real estate comes with potential tenant issues and unforeseen costs. And gold is considered outdated monetary technology with its own set of challenges. Now, why consider a Bitcoin spot ETF? It can offer exposure to Bitcoin's price movement, acting as a hedge against inflation caused by central bank money printing. However, it's essential to recognize that holding an ETF comes with layers of risk. Your Bitcoin is stored within a brokerage account, subjecting you to potential account freezes based on your social media activity or other factors. The majority of Bitcoin ETFs custody their Bitcoin on platforms like Coinbase, which possesses counterparty risks. Government seizures, operational errors, or security breaches could jeopardize your investments. Meanwhile, holding actual Bitcoin allows you to self-custody using hardware wallets, eliminating counterparty risks and providing true financial freedom. Bitcoin's unique properties, such as being a bearer asset with zero counterparty risk, enable you to send it globally without permission, unlike traditional assets or ETFs. The finite supply of Bitcoin, 21 million, makes it a valuable and scarce asset in comparison to unlimited fiat currencies. In other words, investing in a Bitcoin ETF doesn't give you the full power of owning your own Bitcoin. So why should you care? While you may choose to buy a Bitcoin spot ETF for convenience, the superior option is to own the real thing. Holding Bitcoin in self-custody empowers you with true financial freedom, eliminating reliance on intermediaries and safeguarding against potential risks associated with ETFs. Learn to use the world's most powerful monetary technology, Bitcoin, to secure your financial future in an era of political and economic uncertainty. Be your own bank and embrace the true power of Bitcoin. When was that moment that Bitcoin clicked for you? Like, when did you become so passionate about it? And when were you like, this is where I need to spend all my energy and fight for human rights, pretty much?
Yeah, so I learned about Bitcoin when I was working on Capitol Hill, and I worked in economic policy. And at the time, I was really fighting for better economic policy and monetary policy for our country. And I had a friend that introduced me to Bitcoin very early days, around 2011. And I looked at it and just this idea of this virtual currency that was created, and not controlled by a government or a group of companies or a group of people, the idea that it's decentralized and that it's open source really resonated with me. And I thought this was a very interesting experiment, and I've been following it for many, many years. And I am convinced that this is the solution to the systemic issues in our financial and our monetary system.
That is 100% true. Amen, girl. You know, especially there's not a lot of women in the industry. How does it feel to be a woman, or how do you fight against all these like these ideas that they have of women in the industry?
Yeah.
Stereotypes. That's what it was. I missed the word. Stereotypes.
The stereotypes. So when I first got in the industry, there was a study done in 2013, and they found that roughly 9% of people in this space were women. So a lot of times it was kind of me and like a few of my other girlfriends, and like that was kind of it. And we were surrounded by, you know, all these men. And it's the same thing in Washington, D.C. You know, we're based in D.C. and we're working with policymakers. I was 26 years old when we started the chamber, so I was young, but very passionate and had a vision and went after it. And a lot of people, you know, didn't believe, a lot of people didn't really, I think, they didn't believe in what we were fighting for. But here we are almost 10 years later, and we are the largest trade association in the world representing this industry. So at the end of the day, we encourage more women to join this space. Don't focus on what people are saying, just focus on you, focus on what you care about, and focus on your work product. And at the end of the day, people really respect that in this space, and you are welcome here.
So do you feel like the US is falling behind, and what can we do about it?
No, we absolutely do feel like the United States is falling behind. We're facing a lot of headwinds. There's a lot of anti-crypto, a lot of anti-Bitcoin and blockchain technology sentiment coming from policymakers and regulators. And when we look at why is this, what is actually happening, a lot of it is because of partisan politics. It's not about the technology, it's not about jobs, it's not about innovation, it's these politics that are really getting in the way. And we think this can undermine the nation's national security, which is why today we are calling on Congress to create a digital asset and blockchain technology Solarium Commission that will bring in the stakeholders, including policymakers and regulators, but also industry, the experts working on the technology, and academia to create a set of recommendations for how the U.S. will deal with this technology with the underlying goal of protecting our national security. I do believe this technology is so important because it is what we are going to use to transfer value in the digital world. And if the US doesn't get this right, our national security is in jeopardy, and the US must create a Solarium Commission to get this right. Well, today we're talking about fighting the anti-crypto army and how do we organize. And I believe that we are a very strong community, and we're going to win this battle because Bitcoin and blockchain technology truly represents American values. This is about people having control and ownership of their digital assets. This is about having independence and equality and transparency. And these are things that we value as a community and as a society. So I'm confident we'll win this anti-crypto battle.